So, welcome back to the Dogs and Deadlifts podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Rose. Today, we have all the way from Florida, Jamie from My Dog's Mobile Gym. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much. Great to
Look,
meet you.
yeah, and you and I once again I spoke about this briefly before we hit record. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know that we've been trying to align our schedules over the last couple of months, and I really appreciate you finding the time to come on the show and talk today specifically around your business and the emergence, or I guess the popularity of mobile dog gyms.
Oh, happy to be here. So happy to be here. Really exciting.
So, for our audience, I normally like to get started in regards to tell us a little bit about yourself. You can go back as far as you want, or as little as you want. Totally up to you. But it's pretty casual here. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Jamie Daniel. I own My Dog's Mobile Gym. Started out years ago, well, go back even further. I've been a veterinary technician or in the veterinary field since 14. Um, and then, as time went on and off throughout my life, raised kids and things like that. Started raising and showing dogs, specifically Australian Shepherds, in 1987. And then when the breed was accepted in AKC in 1993, I began showing and training and working with other breeds, mostly in the herding group, with a few exceptions. So dogs have been a part of my life for pretty much all my life.
Mhm.
In 2020, I decided it was time to leave vet med and started my own business transporting horses. So that was, um, yeah, kind of. I mean, I've had horses my whole life too, so it wasn't a total surprise. It was just a way to get me. I think I needed to find the peace, and being on the road and hauling horses was just a really good way to do it. Um, it was a good living. Overhead was high, and then I began to develop some severe anxiety being on the highway, having had um, some almost accidents and just crazy people driving, and it was time to get off the road. A friend of mine who was also getting out of shipping horses showed me a video of the mobile dog gym, and I was like, this is a no-brainer down here in Florida. The heat, brachycephalic dogs, especially elderly people struggling to walk their dogs. Not that it takes the place of that, but it just looked like this could be a lot of fun and very needed.
Mhm.
So within the month, that was June. By July 1st, I had my LLC and was shopping for a vehicle, and I was on the road by within 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. And
and here we are.
yeah, awesome. So yeah, we'll talk about the stages that you went through and things like that. But do you remember the first video that you seen of the mobile dog gym?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was probably a compilation of videos. It was David Lopez with Run Buddy Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he started this whole concept.
Yeah.
He's truly an amazing guy. I've had the opportunity to talk to him. I think it's a fabulous idea. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
clearly, because you know, we're all kind of trying to follow in that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was it, and it was instant. Like
Yeah.
I needed this.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, from there, so like I said, you created your, LLC or your, for other countries, your company, basically what you're required to get set up, your insurance, the name, my dog's mobile gym. How long? So that was what year was that? Sorry, I
I
missed.
started July 2023, July 1st, 2023.
Yeah, awesome. And so. I get this question a lot. I'm going to zigzag a little bit because we're talking about it. I get this
Uh-huh.
question a lot. So did you buy a bus straight away, or did you buy, did you start it with a trailer? Because a lot of people, that's the first thing that they ask, right? Do you have a trailer, or did you start with a bus? What's your setup like?
I started with a bus. I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for a van.
Mm-hmm.
Just wasn't finding one, and I had told myself I'm not going to Miami, and I'm not going and I'm not going on Craigslist. Those
Mm-hmm.
were two absolutes, not. And then one Sunday, I was just sitting around and I was frustrated because I couldn't find anything. I opened Craigslist, and the first thing that popped up was this bus in Miami. And I was like, you got to be kidding. But it was just like, it was one of those things. Sometimes those are just the signs. And I called the guy. It turned out it was a private owner. He was so nice. He had already taken all the seats out because he was trying to turn it into a camper. That was his plan. And then they found out they were having a second child and it just didn't fit into their plan anymore. So I got it for a steal. It had such low mileage and it didn't take me much. So
Mm-hmm.
that was it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Awesome.
I knew that at some point I would expand and grow, and this was a great way to start.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, awesome.
it is.
Like I said, I'm just going to zigzag a little bit today, but going back to your, your first 6 months while you're getting the LSC, what sort of, did you test the market a little bit, or did you speak to some other vet techs, or did you, speak to some veterinarians, any of those type of collaborations, just to, I guess, to validate
Oh,
that this concept may work there?
absolutely. I reached out to a lot of my dog friends, of course, my family,
Hmm.
the veterinarians I had worked for. I worked for in a large office, six veterinarians there. Plus, I had I moved down to Florida in 1995, and I'd been involved. I worked in the veterinary ER
Hmm.
for years, so reached out to them. Did I mean anybody that I could ask. Um, and I think my family was the most supportive. They're like, just do it, just jump.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, I had a lot of people were like, that is just a really cool idea.
Mhm.
Um, I think that was it. Wasn't sure how I was going to get people to try it,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I guess I just had faith. It was, I
Yeah.
have a dog. I knew he needed it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
For sure.
figured why not?
For sure. And we'll talk about, I guess, equipment further, further in. But so, you got the bus, you got some signs on it, and then, you tested out the market in regards to interest, because there wouldn't have been, I'm presuming there wouldn't have been anything this within a close proximity, right?
No, I was the first and only um, for quite a while. I mean, it at least 6 months,
Hmm.
almost a year. There's another one now
Yep.
nearby in Cape Coral, but yeah, I was the first, and I was the guinea pig.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
And
yeah.
what something that's stood out as well is obviously when I was looking for another guest to come on and talk about this, with, as I mentioned earlier, the popularity has increased, right? There's lots of
Oh,
there's Facebook groups and lots of, messages. I get messages quite regularly. How do I set up? What do I do? And I
yeah.
presume you do the same thing. But
Yeah.
what I'm seeing is, people love the idea, but they haven't quite. Oh, they're not quite ready to jump. They love the concept, or
Right.
the cost. They don't not sure how things going to go, and they alternatively they open for a very short period of time and then see you later. They
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing anyway, especially over the
Oh,
last
yeah.
12 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you.
Definitely. No, I've seen it too.
Mm. And you've been operating now for a good number of years now, so to me,
I'll be 3 years coming up in a month, or not
yeah,
even a month.
For sure,
Oh my
that's right, and
gosh.
that's what's I'll be honest with you. That's one of the reasons, obviously, not just your business, but one of the reasons that stood out to me was that hey, you've been operating this business for a number of years now. You obviously, you're making a living, you're doing well at it, you create having impact, etc. Whereas, some people have just started in the last month, and or two, for instance, and they're navigating their way, or they just got a million questions, and they're struggling. And then what I'm seeing as well, as I mentioned as well, that they're dying out very quickly.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep,
so
I'm
you know,
seeing
so certainly that like I said, so let's talk about so well done and congratulations to that.
Thank
That's
you.
it's certainly
Thank you.
an awesome achievement. A number of years with a brand new concept is never easy, and especially around you know, something like this, you're very, I guess, fortunate that, throughout America, there are some others that have been running quite longer, as you mentioned, but,
Oh yeah.
in a state that, state, city, county, it is totally new. It's tough going, but,
Yeah.
I believe that once you get through to where the point where you are, things are looking, we have our ups and downs, right? Um,
Oh
but
yeah. Absolutely.
but certainly, you push through and, once we get through that first couple of years, I think that, you start to dial things in and, understand, what works, what doesn't, etc. Would you feel
Yeah.
that's where you're at right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There were some learning curves and, reason that I realize why some people are just, like a few months and out
Hmm.
or, short periods of time. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Just going back, you had a lot of support, a lot of positive support. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. At any point, did you have a moment where you were like, you know, have any fear, anxiety, or like, what am I doing? What have I done?
oh, fear, anxiety. I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And this is an analogy I use daily with new clients with their dogs
Mhm.
because, a lot people, we can all admit, people have begun to humanize their dogs. It's this is my baby and my baby, it can't get scared and things like that. And as a tech, have the veterinary background, like your dog gets scared. Yes, it's our job to help support them through whatever process, whether it's vaccines or a nail trim or pre-surgical or anything like that. Um, but all of us living beings, we get, whether you call it scared, anxious, whatever.
Mhm.
We go through something when we're trying something new. And I, I describe all the time. You think I was terrified when I started this, like all the
Yeah.
what ifs.
Yeah.
But I also am that person that is, if I don't try, then I've failed.
Mhm.
So it's just, I had to try. Otherwise, what's the answer is you failed.
Yeah.
And so, so I do the same with dogs. It's like, yeah, your dog's going to be scared at first, but my job is to support him or her and get them through and just wait until you see the excitement and the fun moving forward. But that was my family, they all were like, we know you're scared and, but we know you're going to push forward and you just have to have faith. And so we did it.
Yeah, for sure. Did I know that you mentioned that you were vet tech, etc. Did you have or I guess yeah, did you have much sort of business experience, or was that learning learning as you went, or did you have any form of coach or any form of local services that helped you navigate those
I
things?
I reached out to the Small Business Development Center here,
Yeah.
but I'd had some business experience for one, dating back to like when I was showing dogs and training. Um, there was a business aspect to that. I handled other people's dogs. My ex-husband is a veterinarian. We owned our own practice. Um, Although it had been years
Yeah.
since I had done all of that, I still, kind of had an idea. And then, like I said, in 2020, I left vet med and started my own business hauling horses. So I had
Yeah.
4 years there of business. Um, this is so much easier. This is it's so much easier. But I made my first business plan um that I'd ever made before. I did a whole business plan. I did a 3-year projection, a 5-year projection, and I mean I surprised myself because I had never done anything like that before, and that was scary in itself. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know how to do these numbers, but
Yeah.
um and oddly enough, I'm on target, if not doing a little bit better than what my business plan had said. So
Yeah. Fantastic.
can't complain.
Sorry, just on those numbers, did you have a local accountant that you work with, to help you with that sometimes?
I didn't at the time.
Hmm.
I got an accountant shortly after to do my taxes
Yep.
because
That.
I'm not good at I hand that off to her. But
Yep.
the rest, I did the Small Business Development Center down here is really awesome. They walk you through all of it. They don't do it for you. Like nobody made my business plan for me,
Yep.
but they were really helpful in answering questions and helping me to figure out, that kind of thing. And so that was awesome. Um, and it certainly helped a lot, made a difference.
Yeah.
But after that, yeah, it was just get an accountant to do my taxes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can do that.
And work hard to achieve those results, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
So just wanted to just touch on briefly around canine fitness and like I said, you popped some videos popped up. You did some research around that. Did you see? I guess did you see a trend in this space? What in your own words, I guess, what did thinking back, what did you see that you know from a canine fitness space, or what popped into your head? You mentioned earlier it doesn't substitute a walking your dog, etc. So. Do you recall, your research that you did and what sort of things that you were thinking of at the time?
Um, yeah, I mean, I learned a lot along the way. Um, having been involved in show dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and performance dogs for a long time, I have, mostly conformation, obedience, and some herding
Mm-hmm.
and that. Um, I, I've been well aware of fitness. My dog, personal dog, when he's with his trainer, he runs on an electric treadmill for
Mm-hmm.
fitness, for straight up just gating, proper gating, and to stay tight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had in the research that I had done, of course, there's the mental stimulation of this and the mental benefit. And until I actually started doing it, and with my own dog, he's a very confident, very outgoing, you know, just really cool dog. But he got on there and was suddenly like, whoa. And I watched him transform, and it was incredible to, I suddenly kind of it popped into my head like how much more important this is mentally. It's
Mm-hmm.
very important physically, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but the mental aspect of it is just really, really is one of the things that attracts me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's one of those questions that I get asked. I'm glad you mentioned it because we'll move into equipment, slap mills, and things like that in a
Mm.
moment. But something that I do get a lot of questions around. I've written a blog post just recently around the difference between an electric treadmill and a slap mill. And what are the benefits? How can people use them, etc., in different ways? And you certainly, hit the nail on the head just a moment ago in around, uh, you know, for the electric treadmill. For me, it's about, obviously don't have a very high top speed, which is fine, but we can work on gait. We can work on low level, what I would call endurance, so we can dial it in so the dog's in a particular gait for over X amount of time. A little harder to do with
Correct.
a slap mill, right? But
Correct.
once we get the dog understanding the slap mill and they don't want to go, I say balls to the wall, flat out. We can
Yeah.
certainly, it just
Yeah.
takes a little bit more training and understanding around the slat mill for them to trot for, let's just say, be in a trot for 10 minutes. But they want to come out and they want to fire. They want to go bang, bang, bang. Let's go for, a minute or so before they settle into their a gait. And then obviously we can help them, assist them with um, you know, their output, etc. Whereas the electric, it's almost a set and forget type thing. Once
Sure.
once the dog understands it, and we can build that endurance base. But for what I like, and if you use it differently, please let me know. Is we can get that from the slat mill as well. It's just we need to be have a little bit more training around that for the particular animal.
Oh, agreed. I mean,
Mm.
Dawson now, I can get him on that slap mill and I can get him at the same gait, the proper gait for as long as I need him. But it's
Yeah,
taken, I mean, obviously I can work with him as much as I want to
yeah,
over to, my regular clients. I also don't have a lot of clients that are showing. I mean,
yeah,
he's the exception, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I do a lot um of playing with him to learn things,
yeah,
learn what
yeah,
I can and can't do. So
yeah.
it's nice to have a dog like him to be able to do that with.
For sure. And the other tricky thing is, for your business concept is we don't have a lot of power. So putting a
Yeah.
electric treadmill in a van, it's just near, I won't say impossible, but it's certainly would have its challenges, right?
I've thought about it.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about getting a pacer. That's what I had way back. That's what his handler has for
Mhm.
certain situations.
Yep.
There is another mobile gym up in Florida that has one. They
Okay.
don't use it a lot,
Mhm.
but it's crossed my mind now and
Mhm.
again. But then I'm finding I'm getting the results that
Yeah.
I want with what I have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For sure.
kind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I agree, and that's something that like I said, I get questions all the time, and if you've got I just find, and this is just a question, I just find the slat milk, and yes, it's going to take a little bit more training, but I just
Mm,
think they're more versatile, especially with the training
yeah,
programs that I like to run, and depending on what the outcome is, or the desired outcome for that particular dog, but certainly,
yeah,
whether it's, an endurance day, a low level recovery type day, or it is a high intensity day. We have more versatility around the slat
yeah,
mill than the electric treadmill. In saying that, I
yeah.
maybe two years ago, I interviewed one of the Nick who owns Dog Runner treadmills in Europe, and they're a beautiful mill, electric treadmill. And I talked to him about
Uh-huh.
potentially getting like a heart rate monitor to attach to the screen that it had. That would be
Mhm.
awesome for me. Something that I like geeked out over. But
Oh
certainly
yeah,
it's more for my home setup than it is to take on the road. But
yeah,
certainly there's certainly a great a great tool, but depending on what you want to use it for, right? Um,
yeah.
So I just wanted to touch base on equipment. So moving into slat mills, did you do your research and did you have a look at some? Did you try some? And then where did you land with your slat mills in particular?
Well, I did a lot of research.
Hmm.
I also knew that I'm a person who is do it right the first time kind
Hmm.
of thing.
Hmm.
So I was investing in myself.
Yeah.
That was the bottom line. I'm investing. This is an investment. So I didn't want to piece it together with, poorly made parts and see if it worked. And
Hmm.
then, okay, well, I'll replace it. I can throw that away and replace it with something better if it works. I was
Yeah.
really prepared to invest.
Hmm.
I researched, um, of course, the dog trotter and the a fire paw, and those are the first two that I came across,
Hmm.
and a couple of others. At the end of the day, I liked the steel construction of the fire paw. I wanted it, it had to be sturdy.
Hmm.
Um, I had known, um, I don't know, I guess that was really it. I really wanted it to be sturdy.
Hmm.
Aluminum just to me was a little, what if this happens? What if they, it can just bend?
Hmm.
Um, and the price was a thing too, the cost was definitely a factor. But after having spoken with the, Firepaw, their customer service is just second to none.
Hmm.
I will say that. And that is something in the long run, I needed to know that they were going to have my back and that
Hmm.
I would be able to, you know, to get the help I needed if I needed it. Um, that just is one of the things that stands out to me. Um, and I think that was really why I went with that. I mean, after seeing all the things that it does, the videos and just talking to them,
Yep.
I knew that's where I was at. So
Yeah.
that's
So
how I ended up with them.
sweet. So so just confirming, you did your research, ended up with Fire Paw Mill. Did you buy large, and did you buy one or two? What was sort of your concept?
I bought two. I
Hmm?
got a large with the wood slats.
Yep.
I got a medium with the plastic slats.
Hmm.
And I think the only thing that I would change, I do have a third one. I've got a medium with the wood slats. Um, the only thing going back, if I could go back in time, I would
Yeah.
have just gotten two larges,
Yep.
maybe with one wood, one plastic. Um, simply because I found that a Chihuahua can run my big one.
Hmm.
I have a Chihuahua that runs on the big one. It's like if I'd have known that, I'd have just gotten a big one because I can run anything on that.
Yep. Yep.
I've had an Irish Wolfhound and a Chihuahua,
Hmm.
all both running the big one. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that'd be the only thing. And ultimately, I'm intending to get another large here within the year. So
Yep.
um, it
That's
is.
Sorry, that's something that I get asked all the time. I literally opened my inbox yesterday and
Mhm.
someone said to me, I think it was, "Hey mate, have you got any videos of small dogs and what size would you recommend?" So I sent them a few videos of, was it a dachshund or a wiener, wiener dog running the large mill, being able to move that,
Yeah,
very small Frenchie,
yeah,
moving, spinning the large quite comfortably. A friend of mine, excuse me,
yeah,
a friend of mine bought, and this is when they first got started, a large, a medium, and a small. Like the small is small, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's cute, it looks great. However, I'll be honest, and please let me know if you feel the same. It's just impractical.
It's
Like,
exactly. I'm all about practicality. Like I said,
mm,
had I known
yeah.
really, had I known that a little 8 pound dog could have run
Mm,
my big one, I really I wouldn't have hesitated. It would have been just too large.
mhm,
Um, I mean, my Aussie can run, he's 62 pounds and he can run the medium. I also
mhm,
have a Bernese Mountain Dog Pyrenees mix.
yeah.
She's 75 pounds. She's very tall, leggy. She will go, she prefers him only because she can look out the windows of the bus when she's walking. Because she doesn't run,
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
you. She's patrolling, and so she only walks and she looks out the window. And if I put her on the large, which is definitely more her size, she has to bend down to look out the window. So
Yeah.
that's but but yeah, it is the largest would have been a better. But like I said, I run, I've got a Malinois that, um, that runs on that medium and she hits, 23 miles an hour
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, she runs all out, so she's capable on that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess if you're listening to this, and no doubt people will be, and they're just started or they're not sure about their equipment, etc. We both love obviously our fire paw treadmills. We both have our partnerships with them as well.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you're looking to buy or get started with, for me, two larges, more than enough, right? More than enough.
Perfect. Yeah,
You know, I
absolutely.
I have, depending on how, the size of your van or your trailer and stuff like that. I'm also a huge fan of the carpet mill as well. But for me, that's
Oh,
just
I
adds.
want one so bad. I want one so bad.
It just adds another dimension to the
Yeah.
training programs, and I feel it just goes next level, and we can we can supercharge our workouts, etc., with the carpet mill. That's just my personal opinion. And so, even just must have been last month, I did have another client in the US come to me and said, dude, what do I get? What's your recommendations? And it was well, first of all, what's your budget? um,
Yeah.
and he ended up getting a large slat mill and a carpet mill. You will,
Yeah.
if you have the additional money in your pocket, I'd love, two larges and then, a carpet mill as an additional. But there's a reason for having two mills from a business point of view. We're running two dogs at the same time, two dog families,
Yeah.
etc. It makes better
Yep.
sense from an income point of view, right? Um,
Oh yeah.
but certainly, I've added the carpet mill and workouts to that, and I'm going to go on like a road show soon and show people the benefits of that carpet mill as well as the slat mill.
Yeah.
So but if you're looking to start a mobile dog gym, I would look at potentially two larges to get started. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I would. If
and
you have the vehicle in the room for it, definitely. That's the way to go because it just is more, you cover a lot more ground
mm,
with that.
yeah, for sure.
So
Um, in regards to moving away, so you got your fire paw harnesses. Did you do your harnesses, collars? What do you like to run dogs on? And do you keep harnesses there for if clients do not have adequate harnesses
I
or
do.
yep. Is a particular
Yeah, I
brand
do.
that
I mean, I tell them, I send them for the before their first session, I send them
you,
a preparation
hmm
guide.
yeah,
And I tell them if they have harnesses that their dogs are comfortable in,
hmm
by all means use that. When I meet them, if the harness looks to be uncomfortable or like it's going to rub them, then I have different options.
hmm
My favorites really are the Treponti harnesses
okay,
from Italy.
hmm
Um, and they're yeah, I like those a lot. Um, the others I have are I don't know the name. They're like the Rabbit Go ones that a
hmm
lot of people use. They just
hmm
are a little bit more cumbersome.
yep,
Um, but but for the most part, most of my clients, once they get started, they get a harness.
yeah,
They'll ask
yep.
my advice and then I'm just, here's a good one. I make sure their dogs are comfortable and then they get something. Um, so it goes, but I have one, the harness in every size
hmm
ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. So, um, do you have a particular, being, like I said to you earlier or in a previous conversation, I've been to Florida once, but, you know, is there a particular type of dog or at the moment you're working with more than others, or do you cover the whole cross section, because, here for
Oh,
me, we've got a lot of Australian Kelpies, cattle dogs, then we've got the working Malinois, German Shepherds, etc. That's the type of people that are coming to me. I don't see too many spoodles, oodles, those type of breeds.
doodles.
Yeah. Is there any?
There's so many doodles. Um, so as far as my clients go,
Yeah.
I've got such a wide range.
Mhm.
Actually met a Malinois today that was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I love him. I can't wait to continue with him. And he's a working dog. She
Hmm.
competes with him, she works him. So it's going to be super exciting with him.
Yep.
Um, I've got some super nice German Shepherds, of course, my Aussie. My personal headspace is, of course, the herding breeds, working breeds.
Yep.
But then I've got two chunky little Norfolk Terriers that run twice a week, every week,
Yep.
and a couple of Chihuahuas, a couple of Doodles,
Yep.
Bernedoodle, Rhodesian Ridgebacks.
Hmm.
Um, I also do. I spend a lot of time at the shelter. Um, there's a. I was very fortunate. There's a donor that I need to do more than just an hour.
Hmm.
So she covers a lot of the expense there.
Yep.
Um, and so I do a lot of pitties,
Yep.
pit
Yep.
bulls and pit bull mixes,
Yep.
a lot of reactive dogs, and
Yep.
that's been that's been super rewarding because we've really changed brains.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah,
but
that's interesting you mentioned that because what I'm going to throw it, a question that we didn't talk about. So when it comes to the reactive dogs, do you have, work with like trainers, behaviorists, things like that, that you have that either you work closely with, or are they a lot of trainers in your area still trying to understand the concept and how the benefits, not just physically but mentally, can assist them with their behavior modifications. Is there, you know, how has it been
I
received?
unfortunately, no, I don't work with a lot of behaviorists.
Yeah.
The Humane Society here really no longer has behaviorists.
Hmm.
Um, I I guess fortunately I came well equipped,
Yeah.
having been in vet med for so many years,
Hmm.
and my job for that all that time was to keep my coworkers and my doctors safe.
Yep.
So learning learning to read a dog was always super important. Um, and I think over the last 2 years, I finally gotten to a place where I can look at myself, and confidently say, I have a gift,
Yep.
and I should, I should be able to celebrate that.
Hmm.
Um, I'm, clearly I've really helped a lot of the dogs. Um, but I have there are a couple trainers down here that I do work with, different methods. They have different
Hmm.
methods of training, but I
Yep.
appreciate them both.
Hmm.
One of them does refer quite a bit to me, and we discuss a lot of, a few behavior cases. Um, and we've been able to help each other out. But really, it's the biggest struggle is the shelters, because
Hmm.
those dogs are, I mean, clearly that's a hard place to be.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're making a difference. So
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
Yeah, look, I agree. And that's something I just want to touch on because I get into, like I said, people on my socials, etc. And I'm like, hey, people in my school community, etc. We don't talk methodologies. We're here to talk canine fitness and conditioning. We don't want to get
Yeah.
into any form of, arguments
Yep.
or disagreements around training methodologies. I will be open. Like everything that I do is, a form of shaping or positive reinforcement.
Yep.
Especially introducing the dogs to the treadmill. However, as you mentioned earlier, yeah, there might be some emotions that the dog may have in regards to taking their first steps, etc. But we work through those,
Yep.
So we're not here to talk about positive only versus balance corrections, blah blah blah. I'm very adamant.
There are so many, and
Mhm.
my whole goal is to work with the dog.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I do tell people when they come on the bus,
Yep.
I'm very clear about one thing.
Yep.
This area here, this space here is everything here is a yes. Like
Hmm.
there's nothing they can do wrong in here. They can turn around on that treadmill and it's okay. Because
Hmm.
I get a lot of clients that as soon as their dog turns around or they start shaking or they do this or that, they're like, no,
Hmm.
no, no. And I'm like,
Hmm.
it's okay. This
Yep.
is all part of the process. My job is to support him or her through it.
Hmm.
So we're going to work through it. And I promise you're going to be happy at the end, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
I don't, I've had a couple people who've tried to do some training, for example, muzzle training
Yep.
on the bus.
Yep.
They're like, hey, but he's so happy here. I'm like, and we're going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
For sure.
it's just, this is my space,
Hmm.
but you can do it out there.
For
Um,
sure.
I'm open to any the methods
Yeah.
that work.
Yeah, for sure.
But
And
yeah.
that's something that I throw out there quite a lot, and if I'm working with trainers, etc., like, hey, this is like I said, this is my space, and
Yeah.
we'll keep all that stuff, out of our conversations. And I
Yeah.
just want while we're talking about that. And it can be hard, and I know that this is something that can affect some people just starting out quite a lot, and that's and I'll get quite upset about this. People's, comments around social media and, the potentially negative comments. Have you, number one, have you experienced that? And have you worked through, obviously you've worked through that, but have you experienced it?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I have. I think I just choose to I, they can believe what they want. They're
Yep.
not my client.
Yep.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if that's how they feel, that's fine.
Yep.
It's their dog, it's fine. It doesn't, I can't allow it to affect me.
Yep.
So I guess I just let them. I'm not going to argue with them.
Hmm.
I'm not, if they want to come and have a conversation and ask me, but I had somebody at an event came by and, poor dog. I'm
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, that dog is so happy on that treadmill.
Mm.
I know dogs. And I was like, okay, well, that dog's really happy on that treadmill. And I let her go. It's
Yeah.
like, you're not going to change her. I'm not going to change anybody's mind.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, it's fine. I
Yeah.
I see them online too, the people, how poor dog, why would you do that? And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
That's
you
exactly
know.
right. And it's about being resilient. But, I guess the reason why I wanted to just bring it up because we all get it,
Oh
and
yeah,
we all get it. And it can be, and if you are a little bit sensitive to it and you're just starting out in business, no, be prepared for it. Do you know what I mean? And let's,
yeah,
it's about being resilient and know that you mentioned earlier the impact, the ripple effect you're having on not just those dogs that you're running,
yeah,
you're exercising on the mill, but their owners, et cetera, et cetera, So,
yeah,
there's more positives than there are, keyboard warriors throwing out negative comments to
exactly.
you. There's now more mobile dog gyms where, there's a community
Yeah,
where people are starting to, support each other. We're doing podcasts like this, to have open and honest conversations around, these things. And, just be, like I said, this is for primarily the people that are just starting out. It does happen, you know,
yeah,
um, but
yeah.
there's so many more positives than there is negatives.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've got, for every one of those comments, I probably have 20 dogs I'm running. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that they're fine. They
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
they're allowed their opinion. That's fine.
Of course. All right, let's
Not
move
affecting
on.
me.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
We'll talk
Yep.
about we give the haters too much space.
I
So,
know, right?
so I'll just have a quick look at the time. We'll start sort of wrapping things up. We've been going really, really well, but so you've almost hit 3 years. Where do you see, your, I guess, your business going? Have you done costings around other vans, employees, or you just happy to have a sole operator type business? Like these are the questions that, all the good
I'm
stuff.
struggling. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling so bad because I'm in a place now in a season where I need to expand.
Yep.
I really do.
Hmm.
And I'm terrified. I'm back to that beginning.
Hmm.
I'm terrified.
Hmm.
It's just a different kind of terrified because now in the beginning I was only dependent on myself.
Yep.
I'm the only one who can make or break what's about to happen.
Hmm.
Now I have to sit here and go, I really need help.
Hmm.
And who do I find that I can truly entrust to carry on the way I do,
Hmm. Hmm.
or that's going to be it. And it doesn't have to be the way I do. I think I'm just in
Yeah.
this sense, in my world, I'm a control freak.
Yep. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm just, I have to find that that perfect fit of that person that can, that knows dogs.
Hmm.
I've had a few people, that have said, "Oh my gosh, if you're ever hiring, I really love dogs." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
gotta more than love dogs. You have to
Hmm.
really know dogs."
Yeah.
I don't want somebody getting injured. I don't want someone injuring a dog. Um, and there's so many things that they need to be able to fill.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, I would like to get I would like to probably move into like a high top van as
Hmm.
opposed to the bus.
Yeah.
This is Cumberland town, but I'd like to keep it for events and for things
Mm.
like that.
It
So
looks cool.
we'll see. We'll see where that gets us
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
next
'Cause
time.
because I don't think you're the only one that's in that space too, right? So,
Yeah.
let's just say they've been operating for a year, things are booming, clients are coming everywhere, but you know, you're, you're looking at, you're running the show, your hours, your time, and this is things where my brain's been going as well. And but towards the end of this year, I'm looking to, launch a really cool new concept as well. And but right now, yeah, it's very labor intensive, and to expand, it's got to be the right person, the right fit. It's
Yes.
important, right? Hmm.
Yes.
Cool, cool. So on that, yeah, look, we've been going, right on time. So let's sort of wrap things up. Is there anything else that you'd like to either say or encourage people that are thinking about this concept, or even if you share this with with some of your clients, any advice or anything else that you'd like to have before we close out today?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, anybody that's thinking about doing it, the biggest thing is just make sure you really know dogs, know what
Mm-hmm.
there's so much more. I've learned so much in the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm still learning, I'm still figuring out how to encourage some dogs that are a little, you know, that are a little bit more difficult to get going and that sort of thing. But I will always tell people if you have an idea, if you have a passion for something, just do it. You only
Mm-hmm.
have one shot. I guess it's a YOLO thing,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah, yeah,
only
yeah.
live once. Just
Yep.
do it. You're here we're not here forever. So,
Yeah.
um, but I think it's been a lot of fun. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see it coming to an end anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to pop up a lot more.
Yep.
And and I guess the other thing is I've been really fortunate here in Florida. Even though the gym that is, they're probably about an hour away from me, north of me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they've just a couple of good kids, and I try to help them as much as I can. I believe in collaboration brings
Mm-hmm.
us all to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, to anyone out there who's already got a gym going, and if you get somebody that calls asking for help, give them a little help.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take much to be kind,
Yeah, for sure.
so.
Yeah, I agree. So, on saying that, how is the best? People like what they've heard. They say, "Hey, Jamie, she's really cool. She's been going for quite some time." How do people get in contact with you? What's the best way? Through socials or email or
Probably,
website?
probably through socials. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's my social, there's email, my
Mm-hmm.
phone number, of course. That's always
Mm-hmm.
texting is always good. But I think most people have reached me through social media,
Yeah.
and probably Instagram's the easiest.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Awesome.
but yeah,
All right.
I'm
So,
always there.
I want to say thank you very much for your time, Jamie, today. I really appreciate it. We've had a good discussion around
Thank
starting mobile
you.
dog gyms and your adventures. And look, I really appreciate your time.
Oh, it's been great. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, guys, if you're listening to this today and you've liked what you've heard, please give us a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.